Hey guys, I just wanted to share some thoughts, some things I've been thinking about today. And that is, healthy people are a lot harder to control. Healthy people are a lot harder to control and manipulate, is what I'm trying to get at. So in a lot of my other videos, those of you who are going through the gang stalking, but even life in general, you're gonna rub up against the same type of spirits and people. And I've realized, going through my journey and my process with the Lord, is like how certain types of people and certain serpents too, but certain type of spirits operate in people. And manipulative people, they look for weaknesses in people. They look for people who aren't healed, who aren't healthy, because they're a lot easier to control. And I'm not saying sometimes it happens where you're really just fooled, but for the most part, narcissistic people are gonna look for a weakness and exploit it. And I've realized that in the gang stalking, most of the people that are involved in that stuff are of a similar personality type, or they possess certain characteristics, right? And it's like the narcissistic profile seems to fit them a lot of times. So a person like that is going to look for a person to control, and they're not going to look for a healthy, strong person. They're going to look for a broken person where they can find an in and exploit them. It's like a bully don't fight fair, Bully's looking for a victim. That's why you see, a woman, for example, not to down anyone, but a woman who gets beat on a lot of times, is with men that beat her. It continues a lot of times. It's like one after another, different guys, same issue. Why is that? I don't know. I think that a lot of times our brokenness attracts a certain type of person or a certain spirit, and it just reinforces, right? We go through these cycles. And I could see that with addiction in my life. It always brought the same type of people into my life because I struggled and let the spirit of addiction into my life. I always was dealing with the same type of people and the same type of issues, and that was like the open door. So all this to say that the closer you get to the Lord and the more honest and realistic you get with where you're at and what you need, where your weak points are, where you're where you need healing at, the stronger you get, the less likely you are, and the less capable people are to manipulate you. If you're healthy and strong, they can't use fear as easy. They aren't able to get you angry as easy. You learn to forgive. You need to learn to do things God's way, and you start avoiding a lot of issues. Right? So there's a lot more you can do on your end, as long as you're willing to come out of the victim mentality. If you want to remain a victim, no one can really help you. And I've said this on a lot of other videos, is you got to come out of that mindset. I'm not saying everything is fair that you have to go through. Like, life in a general sense is never going to be fair. You know, there's going to be, you're going to get the short end of the stick a lot of times in life, right? But that's not going to help you to dwell on that. You have to learn how to look at every situation. How do I overcome this? You know, look to God and be like, what am I supposed to learn from this? Look, that mindset alone, if you're going through trials, you're going through rough things, if you look to God and ask him, what can I learn through this? What are you teaching me? What are you trying to show me? How can I grow? You know, what is my part in all this? Then you're already setting yourself up to turn a negative situation, right, into something that is now working in your favor. So the situation hasn't changed, but you becoming a student of the situation and asking God for wisdom in something, you set yourself up to gain from the situation, right? But nothing changed except for your mindset, except for the position of your heart, right? That's a position of humility, of God, what can I learn through this? It changes everything, right? So a victim just stays on the negative side of things, and nothing ever really gets better. You're just a punching bag. But you don't have to stay there. Again, though, that's a choice that you're gonna have to make. No one can do that for you. No one can force you to have that heart position of, you know, what can I learn through this, or what can I grow? How can I grow through it? That's a decision. That's a mindset and a heart position that you're going to have to choose. But as soon as you do that, you start learning, you start growing. That's why it says in the Bible, it says if anyone lacks wisdom, that they can ask God for it and he will give it to them. That's an invitation. But a lot of times we don't even get to that point. You know, we want to stay upset, we want to stay angry, and we want to stay a victim because that's what's comfortable. So, to sum it up, you need to start identifying patterns in areas of brokenness in your life. Like, man, there's so many different things. I don't want to speak too general, but like, just being insecure sets you up to be flattered easy. You know, that's an unhealthy thing, right? Someone who's confident in themselves doesn't need that, doesn't look to that. So that's a lot of things are taken out just by that one thing. That's just one example. But fear is a huge thing. If you're a fearful person, the enemy will just play on that and get you to make a lot of decisions out of fear. A lot of reactions out of fear. You're not even really thinking a lot of times. If you can be put in a fearful state all the time, you're never able to think clearly. You're just like an animal in the corner, right? Lashing out and, you know, not thinking clearly. But yeah, that's kind of what I got. Hey, hold up. Hey, I'm making a YouTube video. Sorry. That was my, I just pulled up to the gym. That was a little awkward. That was my two of my brother-in-laws. So anyways, guys, I was wrapping it up, but yeah, you got to get your healing. You got to get your deliverance. You got to get free from that trauma, free from that fear, free from that anger, and just become more of a healthy person. You know, get your confidence from the Lord, get your understanding, your wisdom, your direction from the Lord. Like, there's a lot that you can sincerely do, regardless of how other people are treating you or, you know, trying to manipulate you. You gotta work on yourself, right? And it'll get better and better and better, and you'll avoid a lot of traps. Yeah, I think that's what I'll leave it at. Ask any questions you guys want, and I'll try to get back to you. All right, see you later.